Welcome to The Productive Entrepreneur, where guests offer their tips for working smarter and accomplishing more in less time. Today's guest is Helene Segura. Time management fixer Helene delivers thought-provoking yet entertaining time management keynotes and seminars that give busy professionals the powerful strategies and tactics they need to slay wasted time. By improving efficiency, she helps companies lower employee stress levels, decrease absenteeism, improve retention, and increase profits. The author of 2 Amazon best-selling books, Helene has been the featured productivity expert in more than 150 media interviews, including publications such as U.S. News and World Report and Money Magazine, as well as on Fox, CBS, ABC, and NBC affiliates. Helene's third book, The Inefficiency Assassin: Time Management Tactics for Working Smarter and Not Longer, is now available at theinefficiencyAssassin.com. Hi, Helene. Thank you so much for being with me.
Thanks, Veronica. I appreciate it.
I'd love to hear something interesting about you outside of your bio.
I am a wannabe foodie and wino, so I love experimenting and pretending like I know what I'm doing, but really I will just drink anything and eat anything for funsies.
That's great. Do you travel a lot and try different things?
Yes, we try to travel as much as possible, but definitely at least once a year. We go away every summer to a foreign country, and it's our disconnect from the world, marriage retreat, just get back into the swing of things. So we will eat as much as possible while on that trip.
Fun. What do you have coming up for 2019?
For 2019, actually, we are taking a group of folks on the Camino de Santiago. We are starting in Porto, Portugal, and then walking north up through Spain to Santiago. So we're really excited about that.
That's very exciting. Okay, so let's jump into some productivity. Tell me your theory about productivity.
Well, the theory, I believe, should start with a definition, and each person has their own definition of what productivity is. And if you don't have that definition yet, that's where you'd want to start. My definition is that you can find what you need when you need it. You can, for the most part, control your time and tell your time what to do. And you get so much work done that you have room in your life for fun. To me, that's productivity.
Perfect. What apps or software specifically do you use for productivity?
I use a handful on a regular basis, and that would be Google Calendar, simply because it is so easy to send out an invite, and then my assistant can have access to my calendar. I can share it with my husband can see what's going on. Anybody who needs to can have access to it. And then it's also available sync-wise from a laptop, from a phone. You can get to it from anywhere. So Google Calendar is huge. Another one is a service called Schedule Once. And what I have found is that when I use that link and share it with people, I save so much time not playing phone tag, because you can waste a lot of time leaving voicemail messages and then going back and forth. I just send my calendar link to Schedule Once and say, okay, pick a time, because it's already prearranged when I'm available, and it's very clear what time zone you're in, what number you're supposed to call, and you get reminders. So I have found that to be an absolutely huge time saver. And then the third one I will share with you is Google Maps. And I know that sounds so boring, but I have found that so many people run late because they're not sure where they're going, or they weren't aware of major accidents or a change in traffic patterns. And even in your hometown, when you use Google Maps, you will get places faster, and not by speeding, but by actually getting there by the shortest route. So those are my top 3 daily apps that I use.
That's an interesting perspective, using Google Maps on the go.
Oh, definitely. I use Google Maps before I leave my office, so that way I have an idea of where a place is. Because what I found, no matter what kind of map software you use, sometimes the nice computer lady or man doesn't tell you when to turn until the last minute. So at least I know ahead of time what lanes I need to be in, and just the amount of time that I save from avoiding traffic snarls in no matter what town I'm driving in, it's just really huge.
So, what do you do if you're losing focus throughout your day?
Ooh, that's a good question because that was happening to me yesterday. Yesterday was my first day back to work after a vacation, and my brain was still in vacation mode. I really enjoyed the days off being in my pajamas, not thinking about what I'm about to say to somebody. I didn't have any filters on. So to go from that into full business mode, that was tough. And when I would start to get out of focus, I would look back at my list because I had written down the top 3 things I needed to get done that day, no matter what. So when I felt myself sliding out of focus, I would look at that list and then ask myself, how is working on this other non-important stuff going to serve me at the end of the day? And that would get me right back into focus and get me on track so I can get stuff done.
Do you use to-do lists or lists in general for everything?
I do. I am very kinesthetic and I like the actual motion of crossing things off a list. So I am a hybrid, digital and paper. And what I do is I have a task system. So I get reminders through the task system. When I think of a task, I can input it into the task system. And when I get the reminders, that's how I schedule out my day. I figure out, okay, which tasks need to be done and when. The most critical I schedule for as early in the morning as possible because, as life gets going, things happen and get in the way. So I am very much a list person, and solely because I like to cross things off, that's why my daily to-do list is on paper, but my overall to-do list is digital.
Okay, so what is the task software that you're referring to?
I use a software called Insightly, and it's insight.ly, and it's not only task management, but it's project management software and a CRM that's designed for small businesses. It's not as robust as other systems out there, but it fits my needs. And then if I think of something wild and crazy, then I can also customize it if I want to.
How do you handle your email?
I try to prevent it.
Are you at zero?
I'm not a zero inbox person, so right off the bat, let's just be straightforward. I think it is really hard to be zero inbox because what I've found in working with clients who want to be zero inbox is that they spend more time moving emails to another folder and then later looking through all those folders to see where the emails are. So in effect, they have created one zero inbox, but created other 50, 25, or 100 email folders. So that's why I would never force anybody to be zero inbox. If anybody listening is zero inbox, kudos to you if you're not losing time on those folders. But otherwise, I am not zero inbox. I use the prevention method. So I try to send as few emails as possible because the fewer you send, then the more you receive. I do not answer emails immediately because I do not keep my notifications on, because I work in chunks of time, and if I'm constantly in my inbox, I'll never get anything done. So I advise my clients to do the same thing. Turn off the notifications and check email when your brain is ready to receive it. And then I've also pretty much trained my clients that I answer email beginning of the day, middle of the day, end of the day. And if you have an emergency, dial 911. Otherwise, I will return your email during one of those next windows because I'm so much more productive if I'm not spending my day in my inbox. I used to use folders, and I would have folders for projects, I would have folders for clients, and I would move emails into there. And what I discovered is that I hardly ever went back to those folders. And over years in business, I have figured out what I truly need to keep. So if I think it's something that critical, I will create a PDF of that particular email and keep it in an important documents file. I have basically a mini digital file cabinet. But for all other emails that I think, maybe it's kind of important, but not enough to turn into a PDF, I just hit archive. And when I'm using subject lines, I make sure there are keywords in lines. So I really need to type it in the search and I can find it within a minute or two if I really need it.
What about in positions where you're not sure how many tasks are going to come up throughout the day?
It's a really good idea to start your day with knowing what your 3 plus 3 are. So your top 3 tasks that you need to get done, and then your bonus 3. So if the stars align and you actually finish those first 3, you can start moving into your next most important tasks. Or if the stars don't align and something goes wrong, you can't finish 1 or 2 or all 3 of those top 3, when your brain gets frazzled, that's when you start having your meltdown and you lose focus. Having that plus 3 is going to keep your focus in. So that way you're not tying yourself down to, oh my gosh, I need to finish all 10 of these things today, yet I have no idea of what's going to come my way. That's why you're just creating those top priorities. So in between those things that do pop up, you can fit in the most important tasks that you need to complete.
Tell me what one thing you've purchased in like the last 6 months has really improved your business.
I guess this is coming to mind just because it's been the most recent purchase, and it's something that's helping me strategizing because I'm not quite done going through laying out my 2019 plan, but I bought a wall calendar, the kind where you can see all 12 months at one time, and it covers a door in my office. So it will not stay there permanently on the front. I'll probably move it to the back side of the door. But right now, during my planning phase, I am mapping out what's already been planned. So I know when I'm walking the Camino, I can block that off. I know when other events are happening. I know when my speaking engagements are. I have about 12 of those booked already, so I can block all those off. And then from there, I am figuring out which are the best months to work on which projects, and estimating how much time I need on those projects, so that way I don't overbook myself. I've found that when I first started in business, I was working from a mindset of scarcity. I was always worried about where the next piece of income was coming from. And then when I had this mind shift and realized if I would figure out how I wanted to use my time ahead of time, that income would come in because I'm using my time productively. So I've learned to block off days for admin and not necessarily take a job every single day, because that just puts me further behind on some of those top priorities that I should be completing. So that wall calendar has been a great purchase. I use green for all of my revenue events because to me, green means money. And then I have my block out days for rest days. I have my fun days, and then any kind of important event, that's in a different color as well. And I realize not everybody is into color coding, but for me personally, it helps me differentiate the events so I can see if there's enough balance in one month of everything that's going on. And if there's too much of one thing, I can kind of straighten it out in the upcoming months.
Tell me what's coming for you in 2019 business-wise.
Business-wise, and this is part of the reason why instead of just relying on small pieces of paper, I got that big wall map. I have some huge projects coming up. My 4th book is going to be released in the spring. And Veronica, this is right up your alley because it's called The Great Escape, a vacation planner for busy professionals who want to get away from work and have a life. So it's yeah, it's a step-by-step guide on how do you prepare to leave work so that way you don't have to be tethered to your work while you're gone, and how do you arrive back to work without being stressed out that you're behind. So it's a step-by-step in there. So I'm excited about that. We have the Big Camino trip coming up. And even though it's a small group, there are only 13 of us, that's still a lot of responsibility, making sure that everybody's okay. So that's another biggie. And then on the personal side, I know you asked about business, but I'm really excited that my husband's cousin in England is getting married. So part of what we're factoring in is a trip to London, because that's an awesome excuse to go over there for a wedding. So the book and the Camino are my two major business projects. I have maintenance going on my e-learning series, so I need to make sure that I keep up with that. And clients, I have to speak, I have to train, I have to coach. So all of that gets sprinkled in between those major projects.
Is there anything you want to tell us that we haven't touched on before we go?
I would say that even though apps are really great tools, the key to time management is truly mind management. And in our society today, we like to hurry around. We feel like we're not accomplishing anything if we're not busy moving, either walking or typing on a phone or a keyboard. But if we would just pause even for 5 minutes at the end of each day and think about what we want to accomplish the next day and what our priorities are, we are going to be so much more productive. So if people work on their mindset first, and then gather the tools around them that are going to support their mindset, oh my goodness, the productivity will be off the charts.